Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? Wow, it is awesome to see so many of you here today. My name's TJ. I'm the program coordinator here at the library. Is anyone here for the first time? Well, wow. Welcome. It's wonderful to have you here at the library. Glad to have you at our program. Make sure afterwards, take a look around and feel free to ask any staff if you have questions about other programs or anything at the library or the observatory. I did want to remind everyone that we do have our observatory open nights, which are our public exploration nights on almost every Thursday and Saturday, including this Thursday, starting at 8:30 p.m., and also this Saturday at 8:30. And what it is it's kind of an open house style event where you can come and generally there's a very short line, and then you can wait through go through the observatory, check out the big telescope, see whatever is the most interesting, very cool thing in the deep space, and then there's usually 3 other telescopes set up as well, and our docents and employees, including our astronomers, are here to answer any questions you have. So if you haven't had a chance to do that, and a little tip I'll share with all of you, don't come right at 8:30. Come a little bit after that because the line builds up, and it doesn't take very long even if you do come at 8:30, but if you come at 9 or 9:15, you'll probably walk right in most nights. So don't tell anyone else, or else that'll change. I'm going to ask one quick question. How'd you hear about it if it's your first time here? How did you hear about today's class? Anyone just shout it out? Emails? Our emails? Okay. The catalog? Okay, great. So if you're not already signed up for our emails, we do send out an email almost every day. We have a program. We'll send out an email reminder, and then we send out a monthly update that has all of our programmings coming up, all of our programming, and then a weekly update as well. So that's a great way to stay informed on everything we're doing. Also, pretty much everything is in our printed guide as well, and you can pick that up in the back of the room or throughout the library. Also, I noticed that as I was walking up here, the recipe sheets for today, we already ran out, so I'm going to print more of those off during the program. So if you didn't get one, they'll be waiting for you on your way out. Okay, if you want to share some of the extras, but I'll go ahead and print some more, and they'll be back there for people to pick up. Last week's, if you want to shoot an email to programming@ranchomiragelibrary.org, I will send it to you. No problem. I told Shannon I'd be short, and now I have not been short. So let's bring up the star of today's show, Chef Shannon Bush. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, TJ. Yeah, that wasn't brief, was it? But that's okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming today. So happy to see a full house. You never know in the spring how many people are in town, available. So I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I'm going to get started right away with the first dish. I don't think this is the first recipe on your page. I'm going to mix it up a little. I'm going to start with the pasta salad. So I'm going to start with it because it has a longer shelf life than the other things, and I want everything to be fresh and nice for the staff when they have their lunch after class. So we will start with the pasta. So this is a recipe I made up quite a few years ago, and I have this thing where I make up recipes and then I don't know what to call them. So taco pasta salad, if any of you want to offer, throw a name out there as we put this together, let me know. I'm sure taco pasta can be improved upon. So, first thing I'm going to do, let's see, is I'm going to put my dressing together. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some rice vinegar to my bowl. And if you don't, this is the seasoned one. And if you don't want to use rice vinegar or you don't have any handy, a lime, some fresh lime juice will work as well. But I find that if you just add a little bit of acid to the mixture, it just kind of Gives it a nice punch in the flavors. I'm adding some granulated onion, and I'm gonna add some taco seasoning mix. Now I have all the ingredients in this bottle in my cupboard, but there's something nice about having everything in one bottle. You can also use one of those little taco seasoning packets that you see at the store too if you wanna do it that way. But I'm gonna add a generous amount of the taco seasoning. This particular one is from Costco, and it's really nice because it also has some lime and ancho chili in it. Mix that up a little. And now I'm going to add a little vegan mayo. So, I'm adding a little of a very big restaurant-sized jar. But for those of you that know me in my classes, one of the great ways to start transitioning from a non-plant-based diet to a plant-based diet is to slowly swap out ingredients that you use on a regular basis. And one of the really easy things to swap out is mayonnaise. It just so happens that Best Foods brand makes a really nice vegan mayo. There are a lot of vegan mayos out there, and please take my word for it that not all of them taste very good. So this one is taste tested and approved. I've used it in the restaurants that I've worked in for years. Everybody likes it. It's got a nice tangy flavor, and it's pretty easy to find. Best price around would be either Walmart or Target for the Best Foods vegan mayo. Restaurant supply, or actually you can order that size through Amazon.
Is it soy-based?
Let's take a peek. It is made with canola oil, which not one of my favorite oils. I don't use it in anything else, but for a ready-made product, I'll forgive it that that one's not too bad, yeah. This one has a little bit more of a tangy flavor to it that I really like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add some drained and rinsed black beans to the mixture. Stir them in really well, get them coated in the sauce. The egg, yeah. Yeah, with a plant-based diet, we get rid of all of the animal products. So you can use your favorite pasta. I'm using rotini pasta for today. But anything similar will work just fine. It is not.
So if you use the Costco brand seasoning, you don't need to add the onion and garlic?
You don't have to. You can if you want. But I do appreciate you reminding me that I forgot the fresh garlic. Thank you. I'm good. I get up here and I get distracted and I forget things. So I rely on you guys. Thank you. Yeah, that has garlic in it, that seasoning mix, but extra garlic is always a good thing. I'm just going to put 2 cloves in here. So it's looking a smidge dry. I'm going to add just a touch more of the mayo. Yes, I do. I recommend the canned beans. The only thing with them is that black beans in particular, they leach their color, and they end up, when you open up the can, they're in a very dark, watery liquid. Rinse them really, really well and get all of that off. Otherwise, it'll color your salad black, which isn't the prettiest. It's a little more mayonnaise. I didn't have any other way to show you the brand and the label that I like, so I had to bring that big thing from home. And I can also tell that I need a little more of my spice. A lot more, actually. It is called Kinder's Seasoning, Costco. So with this salad, you can present it any way you like, but one of my favorite ways to present it is to have all of the remaining ingredients piled on top. If you're at home just making a bowl of this for yourself and you want to just throw everything into the mixture, that's fine too. It's still slightly dry. So I'm just going to use the serving platter instead of a bowl for it. And then I'll just arrange all the different veggies on top. Okay, that's better. Just spread it out a little bit. Can anybody smell it? The taco seasoning is really nice, and the garlic. Okay, so there's that. And now we'll start putting some veggies on top. I have some green bell pepper, some red bell pepper, some corn. Really anything you like will work well on here. So you can get creative. I think I'll just put a big stripe down the middle of the corn. This is frozen organic corn. Something I always have in my freezer. It's a really nice thing to throw on your whatever you're eating, to give it a little pizzazz and color. As some of you heard last week, I'm a big fan of eating your colors. The one thing I did not unpack is my knife yet, so excuse me while Here we go. I thought I was ready. I told you I was ready. It wasn't. All right. Let's see. So what do you think? The red on one side, the green on the other. Okay. There we go, starting to brighten up. And let's do some green on the other side. Remember last week I was telling you to eat your colors. I told you that if you always buy one particular color, like say you always go to the store for your weekly shopping and always buy a green pepper, I recommend you mix it up because the different colors represent the different nutrients in the produce. So you're doing yourself a disfavor if you only eat green. I was going to actually look up and have exact numbers to give you on the difference between what's in a green bell pepper versus a red bell pepper. There's actually a significant difference in the nutrients. So eat your colors. Got some cilantro. And we'll do some tomatoes. About a few tomatoes on either side. I'll put them all over here. And I've got some green onion I'm going to save to the very end. So I'm going to add some of these little mini corn tortilla strips to give it a little crunch and texture. Put them on both ends. There we go. And I think it needs just a little fresh avocado. So last week I told you if you pull the little stem, look underneath, what you see should be the color of your avocado throughout. Yep, it's a nice one. Okay. That along the middle. And finally, a little green onion all over everything. I hope the staff are hungry today. This is a big salad. And just get some cilantro on here to finish it off. There we go. All set. Taco pasta.
Would you think it would be okay to use gluten-free pasta
Yeah,
for this?
yeah, you could. That's always a good thing. Depends what I like. If I'm making guacamole like I did last week, I just squeeze the avocado peel, squeeze the fruit into the bowl and let the pits pop in there, and then I just remove them with a spoon. It was rinsed well. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to go to the chicken salad, the curried chicken salad lettuce cups. So I've brought some celery, carrot, green onion, and a little bit of red onion. And I have some dried cherries. I have some toasted almonds. And the chicken substitute I'm using is the Gardein brand. It's quite easy to find. When it's cooked it's seared so that it has a nice crust to it. It's a pretty nice product. Walmart. I find when something reaches Walmart, you can find it just about anywhere. So, about the only time I use a red onion is when I want the color from the red onion to make my dish look prettier. Red onions, in general, don't have a great flavor. You know, they're my least favorite flavor of the onion world, or least favorite taste. My favorite onions are the sweet onions. They're rarely bitter, often, very nice tasting. But the red onion, there's nothing like having a little bit of purple and something to make it look nice. So, yeah, that's one brand, but yeah, there's many brands, but they're just a great multi-purpose onion. This one doesn't come with any sauce. I think they might sell one that has like teriyaki or something. Is that what you're thinking of? Yeah. Okay. Get the celery going. Just gonna cut these stalks in thirds so that they're not huge and overwhelming in our salad.
Could you substitute powdered onion and garlic, powdered garlic instead of granulated?
Yeah. Granulated, the pieces are just a little bit bigger. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and throw the onion in too, and then I'll make my mayo mixture. I think that's going to be enough. Okay. So here we go again with the vegan mayo. And a lid that does not want to cooperate with me. There we go. And I'm going to put a generous amount of curry powder in there. This one is an organic curry powder. So I put, I think, plus or minus next to the quantities with the spices. You know, adjust to your own taste. If you're not wild about curry, start with a smaller amount. But one of the dominant spices in curry is turmeric. And I'm sure many of you have heard the buzz about how good turmeric is for you. So if you like it, be generous with the spice. What else did I tell you to put in there? Carrots. What about spices? Was that the only spice?
Black pepper, granulated onion, granulated garlic.
Thank you. Onion. Let's get some black pepper in there. Okay. That looks pretty good. Okay, the next thing I'm going to put in there is the dried fruit. I like using cherries, but raisins work well. Really, any kind of dried fruit will work pretty well in here. And the longer the dried fruit sits in this mixture, the more it will flavor the mixture. So if you really want that cherry or raisin flavor to sweeten and flavor your dressing, maybe do this part ahead of time. Okay. So I cooked the gardine. Well, first thing I did was chop the strips into tiny little pieces. And then I cooked it in some avocado oil until it was crispy. If you have an air fryer at home that you use, I have a feeling that would work really well also. But I'm going to go ahead and mix this in. Okay, looks good. I can smell the curry. It's got a faintly yellow color to it because of the turmeric. Okay. So now I'm going to set my lettuce out. And for this recipe, I love using butter lettuce. Butter lettuce is one of my favorites. I love the texture of it. I love that you buy the whole head and it's still alive in the store or when you bring it home from the store because it's still attached to the root ball. And it works really well. It's flexible for doing our little lettuce cups. So this one has a bit of a hole in it, so don't know if we'll use that one. But I'm just going to take these lettuce leaves, put a generous amount of our curried chicken in there. No, they're going to go on top and make it look pretty, but I appreciate you checking in with me because, as we all know, I get distracted easily. Well, this was a full package that I made. So I would say, depending on how full you want to make them, maybe 6 to 8. Okay. So there they sit. And we're going to do some things to make them look a little prettier. I promise I'll use the carrots. I know we put red onion inside, but I'm going to put just a smidge of green onion on the outside because it looks nice and tastes good. And I'm also going to use these nice almonds. And now my hand is slippery. There we go. And for the carrot, I'm going to make what I call carrot curls. All of the restaurants I've been at, if I do say so myself, all of my salads looked very beautiful because I would always top them with these carrot curls. The other neat thing you can do with these, they look really nice if they're just sort of mounded on top like that. But the other thing you can do is use them to tie up your little bundle. See if this little guy will cooperate. There you go. Let's make a few more of these for the remainder. Oh, thanks. The OXO, the kind with the nice cushy handles on them. The kind that don't slip out of your hand when your hand's a little wet. All right. So next we need some of those toasted almonds. And a few green onions. Whoops, I had to run away. Yeah, it can be dangerous sitting in the front row for my class. I don't know if any of you were here for the Mediterranean class I did last fall, but there was a gentleman in the front row. I don't know if he's ever come back. I accidentally flung some tabbouleh on his foot, and he was wearing sandals. So, yeah. But anyway, here we go. In the valley, I worked at Shadow Mountain Country Club. I was the executive chef there for a while. I was the chef at the Pastry Swan for a while. I've done catering in the Valley for many years. All right, now we're going to switch gears to one of the sandwiches. Isn't that beautiful? I do. Mostly herbs, but I do have a few things. I have a bumper crop of rainbow chard right now. It's just beautiful. Love going out and being able just to snip a leaf at a time and, dropping it into whatever I'm cooking. But lots of herbs. Okay, I'm going to do the seitan sandwich first. So, making your own seitan might seem a little intimidating, but I tried to give you a really easy, basic recipe so that it wouldn't seem scary or like too much trouble. Really, the only challenge with seitan is you have to be able to slice it very, very thinly. So in the restaurant, I would make these enormous logs of it, and then I would slice them on a meat slicer. But now that I'm catering and now that I'm home a lot, I don't have an electric meat slicer at home. A house full of vegans, no surprise. But I do use my mandolin. And I use this a lot, actually. It's very handy. I highly recommend them unless you're accident prone. If you are accident prone, please, please do not go home and order one. The very first time my husband and I had been to Japan, and in the grocery store that we were visiting over there, they had these really neat ceramic bladed mandolins that were very inexpensive. So we bought one, brought it home, and on the very first try, very first swipe, my husband took the top of his knuckle off. So please don't even think about it if you're accident prone. Yes, that's a great idea. There you go. Better safe than sorry. So, got it. Yep. So the instructions I gave you with the seitan, it's very simple. It's just equal parts water or liquid with the vital wheat gluten. So someone sent me an email asking if they could use regular flour. No, when I learned to make this back in the late 70s or early 80s, you couldn't buy a bag of vital wheat gluten. So you used regular flour. And it was quite a process because what this gluten is the protein of the wheat plant. And you can think of this bag as the protein being filtered out of the wheat. So they do the work for you. You could do it on your own with regular flour, but why would you if you can just buy this and make your life a lot easier? But equal parts water and this. And different chefs have different ways of cooking it. I've always used the steam method. And what I end up doing is making a little makeshift steamer in my soup pot. I take one of those metal vegetable steamer inserts, and I put that down in the bottom, get some boiling water, and then I wrap my loaf of seitan in parchment paper, and then I seal it tightly with aluminum foil. You cook it for 1 hour in the steam. You'll take it out and just let it cool as is without opening it or anything for about a half hour, at least a half hour. And by the time you open it up, it'll be nice and firm, easy to work with. But I promise you that if you cut off a big chunk like this and try and eat it, you're not going to enjoy the experience. This is what the log looks like. So for those of you that are wondering how much that recipe makes, this is 1 2-cup batch, and this was the foil, and then I shaved about a third of it off in here and put it in marinade for today. But this is what it looks like. I could do a whole class on making seitan. You can flavor this. You can seal it with a marinade. I used to sell one that I called phony bologna, and I found the seasoning mixture just right to sort of remind people of bologna without the guilt. Sometimes I do a garlic herb. But the main thing to keep in mind if you don't pre-season the mixture is you have to add a lot of flavor afterwards. It's like a plain old piece of bread. It needs flavor. So the recipe I gave you has one of my favorite seitan marinades. It's a lemon and tarragon mixture. And it really, flavors it nicely. If you let it sit overnight in this, the next day you'll have just a wonderful, flavorful seitan ready for a nice sandwich. This will keep about a week, but seitan freezes really well. So what I used to do in the restaurant is once a month I would make a bunch of giant logs and just throw them in the freezer and then pull them out, a day ahead when I knew I was going to need some. But it can freeze indefinitely. But once you've taken it out of the freezer, about a week. Yeah. So this first sandwich, I'm just going to put some mayo and mustard on the bread. Yeah. I have not found one that I thought was great, to be honest. Yeah, if you guys find one you like, let me know. Are there any store-bought ready-made seitan that I like or would recommend? And the answer is no, I haven't found one yet. I toasted it, yeah, ahead of time, because I don't have a toaster here. But yeah, a nice rustic bread with a light toast, lightly toasted. How many of you have made seitan before? I see one hand over there. Good job. Well, it's more than that, and it's a fabulous protein substitute without the guilt. Like I said before, the gluten is actually the protein portion of the wheat. So you've gotten rid of all of the rest of the wheat, and you're just left with the protein. Oh, there we go. TJ actually opened this for me earlier, but I was having a little trouble. So I like these nice sandwich slice pickles. And I know everybody can make a sandwich at home, but I just thought we'd do these in class to showcase the seitan. Hopefully you'll be inspired to give it a try. And I also just wanted to show you some easy ways to elevate a sandwich instead of just having the same old, same old. So I think what I'm going to do is put a layer of tomatoes next. And I've got this beautiful yellow heirloom. Trader Joe's. They have beautiful tomatoes. I bring it to a boil, and then I turn it down so that it simmers. I'm going to put a little bit of this tiny red one in there for a little color. Can't have too many heirloom tomatoes. I don't avoid it, I just use less of it. There is salt in certain things. I just try not to have too much. I think most of us are better off reducing our sodium intake, and I just try to write recipes with that in mind. Just try not to overdo it. All right. So now I think it's time to put some of this on here. And again, you've got to shave it thinly so that it really soaks up the flavor.
What is the taste of it?
Just very plain. It's very plain unless you do something to it.
And once you put, what was it, tarragon and
And lemon. Lots of fresh lemon.
the tarragon and the lemon.
Yeah. I have some romaine lettuce leaves, and I'm going to cut them the chiffonade cut. It's my favorite way to cut these leaves. You can do that with spices like basil or anything, but you basically just flatten out your leaves together and then roll them discard the ends. And then I'm just going to finally cut these. I have a feeling they'll do okay. All right, so sandwich number 1. The next sandwich is a little fancier. We're going to go to a Vietnamese banh mi sandwich, one of my favorite things on the planet. There is a place in town that has banh mi sandwiches that are almost as good as mine. And that's high praise. La Baguette, have you guys heard of that? It's on Monterey, in that parking lot where Walmart is. But La Baguette makes fabulous banh mi sandwiches. And, yep, vegan. They have 2 or 3 different options. You can either have tofu, marinated mushrooms, or zucchini, I believe. Okay. Yeah, but they're absolutely wonderful. I'm sorry?
What are your favorite vegan restaurants?
Yeah. There aren't that many options here. Yeah,
Going back to the chicken, is that Argentine chicken real chicken?
no.
Sorry.
That's okay.
For my ignorance.
No, it's okay. It's not. It's made with, I believe that one's made with pea protein. So this one, we're going to make a fun spread to go on our bread. And we are also going to cook some tofu. So let's see. We'll go ahead and make our edamame mayo first. The Best Foods mayonnaise. I'm making my homemade spread. It's going to have a little bit of mayonnaise in it of the Best Foods, but the base of it will be edamame. So it's like adding a high protein spread to our sandwich. I might as well make this all. So you're just going to throw the shelled, previously frozen edamame in your food processor.
Is that been cooked?
You don't have to cook this. It's blanched, so you can eat it hot or cold. I'm going to throw some fresh garlic in there. And I think one more. Because I have an amazing garlic press that does it for me. It's the best garlic press I've ever found. It's really old, but it's from the Pampered Chef. Remember them? So you just put the clove in there, in the husk, and it separates it. It's a great tool. I've never found any, like, Chef's Warehouse, anything like that, that's ever made one that's a similar quality. So I love it. So I'm also going to add some spices, some granulated onion, some black pepper, and I'm going to go ahead and process this. Not yet. It really takes a bit to break the edamame down. Okay. You could even, if you want to do without the calories, you could even not put this in there. But this adds a little bit of a creamy element, and it also adds some tanginess, which is kind of nice. I'm sorry. You could. That would definitely make it tangy. Just going to scrape down the sides a little bit.
Do you prefer the dry granulated onion versus fresh?
No, I use both for different reasons. When I want that depth of flavor, when I want every little bit of whatever I'm making to have that onion in it, I have the granulated onion in there. And I'll often have fresh onion as well. But if you just have the fresh onion, you don't necessarily get that nice onion flavor throughout. Yeah. So you can continue to process this if you want it really, really smooth. But I kind of like it slightly rough. This beautiful bright green color. This will keep about a week. It doesn't have a particularly long shelf life. The mayonnaise does help preserve it a bit because of all of the vinegar in the mayonnaise, but it will spoil after about a week. So now I'm going to take this beautiful spread. You know what? I take it back. I'm going to get my tofu going first. I'm allowed to change my mind, right? I'm just trying very hard not to keep you here late again today. Sort of my signature move is running over my allotted time. But it's never intentional, I promise. Okay. Get that heating. I'm going to use some avocado oil. For those of you that were here last week, I do like avocado oil when I'm going to heat something. It has a very high burn point, so it does not break down like some other oils do. So it's great for frying, sauteing, baking. Grapeseed oil is a great alternative. Grapeseed oil is more affordable than avocado oil. So sometimes the price of the avocado oil is ridiculous. Yeah, and I'll buy grapeseed instead. Olive oil is best used only for cold purposes, like in a salad dressing. It does break down when it's heated, and it's not as good for you. At home, someone asked if I have a tofu press. I do not. I have a nice wooden cutting board. So I'll take my tofu out of the package, rinse it, pat it dry, and then wrap it in some dish towels and put my cutting board on top of it. Well, I set my cutting board on it and I let it sit, and that kind of forces the moisture out. So the nice thing about that is that your tofu will cook a lot faster if you remove as much of that moisture ahead of time as you can. So the reason I wanted to cook this for you instead of pre-cooking it is it's not always easy to cook. So I'm going to just go ahead and make a single layer with my tofu strips, and then I'm going to just let it be. So that tofu will be ready to flip when it's loose. It's initially going to attach to the bottom of the pan, and if I try and disturb it, move it around, it's going to break on me, and this won't be pretty. I really like the organic sprouted tofu from Trader Joe's. It comes in a little 2-pack like this. So we're just going to let that cook. And now we're going to play with our green spread here. We're just going to put a generous amount. You can use it a lot like hummus. It's basically the same thing, just a high protein, delicious snack. You could put it on crackers, dip vegetable sticks in it. If it's green, maybe the kids will like it. I don't know. I pickled some veggies, just like last week. I did some red onions last week. And this week, for this sandwich, I did some carrots, some sweet onion, and some daikon radish. So one thing about daikon radish, when it pickles, it doesn't smell great. So for those of you in the front row there, it kind of smells fermented like sauerkraut, kind of. But in case you're not familiar with a daikon radish, I thought I used the bottom half of it, but I brought the top with me. You can also use the regular red radishes that are easier to find. But they're just in some vinegar and black pepper, a pinch of sugar. And then the other thing on our sandwich is going to be some cucumber. I'm going to use my mandolin to slice it. Checking in with my tofu. Nope, it's still attached to the pan, so we're going to let it be. So with this guy, we'll test this thickness and see how it goes. But we're going to go long ways. That's going to be perfect, nice and thin. Am I making you nervous? Who knows first aid? All right, that's about my limit there. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you care. Thank you. If any of you are in the market for a mandolin, I really like these Japanese ones that you can buy on Amazon. Several models, but this one's really nice. Not all of them are this wide, and that's one of the things that I like about this particular model is it's nice and wide. So if you have something bigger like an eggplant or, I don't know, some big vegetable, you've got room to use it. Beriner looks like this. They do come with a little safety thing. It's like a little plastic thing with spikes in it that you attach your food to. But I never use it. I don't know why. I probably should. It's just, in this case, the seasoned rice vinegar with some black pepper and a smidge of sugar. And that'll soften the veggies, infuse them with some flavor, and it'll take the bite out of the radish. The pickled veg? Oh, long time. Oh, if you do it at least 2 hours ahead of time, you'll have nice results. But you can do it the night before, a couple days before. But it takes at least 2 hours to kind of soften it and flavor it. All right, these are still sticking, so we're going to leave them be. So our pickled veggies, our cucumbers. What am I missing? Thank you. I will, but I'm going to do it at the end. It takes a long time to cook the tofu. You have to cook that moisture out of it. You have to get all the moisture out before it'll start to brown, and it takes a while. So if I add spices, seasonings, or what I'm ultimately going to use, which is coconut aminos to flavor it, if I do that now, it's going to burn in the pan before the tofu is the texture that I'm going for. What I'm going for is for it to be crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. So the way I'm going to do that is to wait until I flip it. And they're getting closer. I'm going to put them in a bowl with the seasonings and the coconut aminos. And just toss them and let them sit in that for a moment before I put them on the sandwich. Yeah, coconut aminos, one of my favorite ways to season things. Think of it as very similar to soy sauce, but with a lot less sodium. And it also has all of the essential amino acids in it. Coconut aminos is the nectar from the coconut blossom. Just about everywhere. every store I can think of carries it, but one of my favorite brands and one of the most affordable ones is the organic one at Trader Joe's. And I have 3 lucky people will be going home with some coconut aminos today. But you really can use it on just about everything. It really adds a nice flavor. You can put it in sauces, marinades, on sushi, so many things. Yeah. So anytime you would use soy sauce and more, but less guilt, it has a lot less sodium. So give it a try. Yeah, they have an amino acid. Yeah, this one has a better flavor in my opinion. I have a bottle of the Bragg's brand at home, but this is the one I use. Well, actually, that brand. And some sweet onion. Yeah. Last week I did some red onions, and we put those on the avocado toast. Ooh. You can. I'm just a big fan of the rice vinegar. But yeah, you can use other vinegars. Okay. These are not sticking anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and flip them over. I'm sorry, pressing the tofu, I didn't hear the rest. It's hard for me to hear when I'm standing next to that, but I think you're asking about pressing the tofu before using. Yes, someone else asked me that. I do not have a tofu press, but what I do is I wrap it in dishcloths, and I put my big wooden cutting board on top of it.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted to know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it cooks faster. That's one of the benefits of pressing the tofu, because the cooking process is really just cooking the water out of it. So if you remove as much water as possible, it'll cook a lot faster. All right, so now these are firmly stuck now that they're on their new side. So we'll leave them be until they're ready. Oh, maybe an hour. If I don't have that much time, just even a little bit of time makes a difference too. Yeah, I noticed if you take tofu straight from the package and put it in the pan, it takes a good half hour to cook it till it browns. It has so much water in it, and you've got to cook all that water out before it'll start to brown. Yes. Yes. It does, yeah. One of the ways to change the texture of tofu to make it more meaty, more like poultry, I think, is to freeze it and thaw it. And then when you press the water out, the texture is quite different than what you started with. Some people even freeze it twice, freeze and thaw twice. But I've never had that much time on my hands. How am I doing on time? Does anybody know? I've already gone past? Oh, I thought I was doing so well today. Shoot. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope nobody has a pressing engagement after this. I really thought I was going to do it today, and I'm not even close. What's that? The questions, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to blame it on you guys. No, I couldn't do this if you guys didn't talk with me. It's really hard to fill empty space up here, and I love the questions, and it makes it more fun for me and hopefully fun for you guys too. Okay, we're almost there. It's a nice golden brown on the top side. Okay. 5, 6 door prizes today. Is anybody here that won a prize last week? Well, you're all disqualified for getting one today. Yes. If you go to the library's YouTube channel, you'll find it there. Yeah. And all the previous classes. Yeah. So if you want to go back to the Mediterranean class, I've done a Japanese cooking class, Italian. What else? No, the library's YouTube channel has the videos from all the prior classes. Yes. Yeah. There's not a list, but I think in the past I've done a better job, and maybe now not as good a job, so maybe I'll work on making sure I mention the quantities and whatnot for the recipes. But if you look at one of the recipes from an old video and you have a question about how to make something, my email address is on everything. Just let me know. Mm-hmm. I do have my special trusty, been through the wars spatula today. All right. Because you people probably want to go home sometime today, I'm going to call it on this tofu. I'd probably let it get a smidge more brown if I wasn't running late. But I'm going to throw it in here. Give it a very good dousing with the coconut aminos. And I'm going to use my trusty seasoning blend. It is granulated onion, granulated garlic, black pepper, smoked paprika, a smidge of cayenne, and a little bit of sea salt. All right, so I'm making sure these are thoroughly soaked in the coconut aminos. And I'm gonna, let's see, I think I'll do the cucumber first. And then now, our pickled veggies. Forgot my tongs today. So just kind of drain a little bit of the juice off. But I'm going to just spread these out on the warm tofu. Can't have too many onions in life. I'm going for that contrast of textures, flavors. So I have enough with the tangy pickled flavor, and also by doing that, it kind of softens the vegetables a bit. So I wanted something that was still a little bit crisp. So in my humble opinion, it's about combining those different things to have a successful, delicious result in whatever you're making. So, all right, so here goes our cilantro. Thank you. I'm so sorry I kept you guys late. I hope you've had fun today. I know I did. I need to, let's see. Who can tell me, well, real quick, researchers looked all over the world for the healthiest, longest living people on the planet. The blue zones, right. So I was going to say, name one of the blue zone countries. Okinawa, Japan. Which one would you like? Coconut amino?
Thank you.
Okay. What was the other one? Sardinia is one of them. Okay. Who said Loma Linda first? Right here? Who? Sorry, I can't see with the lights. Oh, hi, Elizabeth. Nice to meet you. Do you want that one? That's Seitan. Okay. All right. Who has another country for me? Where? We've talked about Loma Linda, the one in our backyard, and the only one on this continent. We've talked about Sardinia. We've talked about Okinawa, Japan. Would you like some coconut aminos? Costa Rica. And we were going to talk about sweets today. I gave you my favorite recipe for peanut butter cookies. I have some vegan-friendly mini chocolate chips. Who has another country for me? They're in Greece. Yeah. The library has the Blue Zone Cookbook if any of you are interested in learning more about those countries. Why Loma Linda? That's a great question. It is because there is a very large Seventh-day Adventist population there. And they've been there for well over 100 years. Yeah. And they don't eat animal products. And researchers come from all over the world to study the people there. And it's pretty exciting. It's right in our backyard. The only one in this part of the world. It's right there and an hour's drive away from us. All right. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 50. What? I don't believe I've heard my number. It was 43, but one of you said 44. All right. You're welcome. All right. Thank you so much. I hope to see you all next week. My pleasure. Thanks for coming. Not yet. I will. Yeah. It's on the list, along with my cooking school in Japan. So. Hi.
So much.
My pleasure.
Question for you. I
Sure.
can't eat Satan because I'm extremely gluten.
You have celiacs?
I have.